Okay, this video is to help you with your graphing linear equations and intersection point practice. So before we begin, I want to review something. When you graph lines, sometimes we have vertical up and down lines, and sometimes we have horizontal lines. And so if you write hoi, bucks, it will help you remember. So horizontal lines have a 0 slope, and they are in the form y equals. Horizontal lines are the ones that go side to side, like the horizon. So that's horizontal. The VUC stands for vertical, undefined slope, and they come in the form x equals, and vertical lines are the ones that go up and down. So if you have, I don't know, y equals 6, that would be a horizontal side-to-side line. But if we had x equals 6, that'd be an up and down line. So now that you have this in mind, let's go look at number 1. Okay, so number 1 just says that x equals 5. So there's no y. So let's think about this. Is this a hoi or a vux? It's a vux. The x is right here, so it means it's going to be a vertical line, an up and down line. So it says that x equals 5, so we're going to go to the x-axis and find 5. It's right here. And so what we want to do is we are going to draw an up and down line to that red dot that I just had. So we're going to draw an up and down line, a vertical line, right there. So that is the equation x equals 5. So now let's try number 2. So in number 2, it's not just that x equals a number or y equals a number. Instead, it's in our form y equals mx plus b. So we're going to start with our b, our -5. It's my y-intercept, so I'm going to go to -5 right there and put a dot. And then what you need to remember is that in front of this x, there's an imaginary 1, or a better way to look at it is an imaginary 1 over a 1. So now that I have my y-intercept of -5, my slope says 1 over 1. So I'm going to go up 1 and over 1. Up 1 and over 1. Up 1 over 1. Up and over, up and over, up and over. So my beautiful line is right there. So you can do the same idea and same process on problems number 3 and 4. Let's go look at another problem. Let's look at number 5. So number 5, unfortunately, is not in our y equals mx plus b form. So yes, you're going to have to show work. I'm going to give you 2 options of showing work, and then I'm going to show you how to use a calculator to check yourself. So option number 1. Option number 1 we're going to call find x and y intercepts. So if I want to find an x-intercept, you let y equal 0. And so x minus 0 equals 4. X minus 0 is just called x equals 4. And if I find my y-intercept, to find a y-intercept, you let x equal 0. So 0 minus y equals 4. 0 minus y is just called a negative y equals 4. And then you have to divide by this -1. And so y equals -4. So I got to graph this. I have an x-intercept of 4, a y-intercept of -4, and then you can draw your line that goes through both the dots you just drew, like that. So that's one way of showing work. Here's another way. So option 2 for showing work is that you can just convert it into slope-intercept form. So I have x minus y equals 4. I want to solve for the y. So I'm going to minus x on both sides. Negative y equals 4 minus x. There's a -1 in front of my y, so I'm going to divide by -1 on both sides. And now that I've done that, I'm going to get that y equals, both things have to get divided by a -1. So 4 divided by -1 is -4. Negative x divided by -1 is a plus x. And we can rewrite this one more time. So it looks like y equals a positive x minus 4. And then we can graph this. So according to my blue equation, my y-intercept is -4. And then I go up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1. So it's the same exact line. Okay, so now let me show you the calculator shortcut. But before I show you, to make this very clear, you have to show work on problems 5 through 10, either the black or the blue version that's on the screen right now. If you don't, and you just use the calculator, you're not going to get credit for it. You have to show your work. Okay, so I have my calculator screen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a new document, and no, I don't want to save, and I need to add a graph. And when you add this graph, it always says f of x equals. It's like saying y equals. Well, I don't want that. What I want is something better. So menu, and then pick the one that says graph entry edit, and pick relation. And so now what the calculator is saying right here is relation x comma y. It just wants you to type anything that has an x and a y in it. So I'm going to type number 5 the exact way we saw it, which was x minus y. Let's see right there. I'm going to type my equals, which is up above the, right below your yellow button, your control button. X minus y equaled 4. And press enter. Look, there's your graph. And then if you do menu and pick trace and then graph trace, it'll let you trace ordered pairs on the graph so that you can graph your ordered pairs. But you have to show your work to be able to use this trick. So on the rest of these problems 6 through 10, if you don't show work and you just use the calculator, you're not going to get any credit. So now let's do another one. Let's try number 7. That's a little bit harder. Okay, so let's do number 7. First I'm going to do it with the x and y intercepts, then I'll do it by converting, and then you can show it with the calculator. So if I want to find my x-intercept, I let y equal 0. So 3x minus 2 times 0 equals -6. 2 times 0 is nothing. So 3x equals -6. Divide by 3 on both sides. You're going to get x equals -2. So my x-intercept's at -2 on the x-axis. And then to find my y-intercept, I let my x equal 0. So I'm going to get 3 times 0 minus 2y equals negative. Hang on, let me rewrite this. I'm going to run out of room, sorry. Try one more time. I'm going to get 3 times 0 minus 2y equals a negative 6. 3 times 0 is nothing, so I get negative 2y equals negative 6. And then you divide by your negative 2, so y equals 3. And then you could draw your line like that. Okay, let's double check this by changing it in the slope-intercept form. Oops, did not mean to move that. Erase this line. I moved it. It's okay. Let's do the other way. Let's convert this. So 3x minus 2y equals negative 6. So I want to solve for y. So I'm going to minus my 3x over on both sides. Those go away. Negative 2y equals negative 6 minus 3x. And the y is playing with a negative 2 by multiplying, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 2, both pieces. So y equals, if you do negative 6 divided by negative 2, it's going to get me a positive 3. And then you also have to do the negative 3 divided by the negative 2. That's going to get me a positive 3 over 2x. So I rewrite my equation one more time and get y equals 3 over 2x plus 3. So my y-intercept is going to be 3. And then I can go up 1, 2, 3, and over 2. Or I could go down 3 and over 2. And this is the same exact line we just had graphed. And so now you can use your calculator and check and make sure the answer is right. So that will be the work you have to show when you finish 6, 8, 9, 10. And so now on the back side paper, let me show you how to do the last piece of this worksheet. Okay, so this is number 11 and 12. And these are a little bit easier. Actually, a lot bit easier. The directions say find the point of intersection. So the point of intersection is where two things intersect. So what you're going to do is you're going to go find where the graphs intersect. You're going to circle it like this. And then you're going to write down the answer. So this intersects at 2, 1. Because that ordered pair, that dot right there, I went over 2 and up 1. That's that dot right there. On number 12, I'm going to circle a dot. And then my intersection here is negative 3, 2. Just a reminder, it's always the x, the y value. So those are the two answers for 11 and 12. And so now you can finish 13 through number 20. So the rest of the class to do that, and the worksheets due at the end of class. And if it's not done by the end of class, then you have to take it home and get it done for homework and bring it back tomorrow. So I'm going to insert a video. Get with me while I do this real quick. Okay, so I'm going to grab my calculator. And I'm going to go home. I'll pick a new document. I'm not going to save. I need to make a graph. So when you make your graph, it up here says f of x equals. Well, I don't want f of x. I want a relation. So I'm going to do menu. And pick the one that says graph entry edit. And pick the one that says relation. When you pick that, it says relation xy. So it's saying x, y, what's the thing you want? And so I'm going to type number 5, the exact way it was on the paper. X minus y equals 4. Enter. And there's my graph. And if you press menu and then trace, and then graph trace, you can get a little cursor on there that will tell you some dots. So you could plot the dots down and make sure that you're right. But that definitely matches what we had on the previous screen. So now let's go try a harder one. Let's try number 7.